In this video, I would like to show you all the named legendary greatswords in New World that you can farm solo. After getting one of these, you can even push them to item level 600, which makes them legendary. The swords all drop from enemies in the open world, and you should all be able to defeat them without outside help. You should definitely farm these swords once you become fresh level 60, because even if you haven't leveled up your expertise, these weapons will scale for you at item level 590. This will give you a huge push in character power and should definitely be one of the most important tasks for new level 60 characters. In another video, I will show you the legendary named greatswords that you cannot farm on your own. These are mostly found in the well-known elite chest routes, for which you need at least an organized 5-man group. But enough of the words, let's jump straight into the showcase of the individual greatswords. First weapon we are taking a look at is Soul Strike, which is dropped by an enemy that named the Surgeon and is located in Reekwater. As you see in the video, this enemy is very contested. You should choose a fast weapon so you can land at least 2 hits on the enemy. If you are lucky, Soul Strike drops for you. I'm gonna read for you the stats now. Soul Strike. 29 Dexterity. Steadfast Purification. Each attack of Steadfast Strike reduces debuff durations on you by 20%. Empty Gem Socket. Keen, plus 11% critical chance. Trenchant Rend, fully charged heavy attacks inflict rend for 7s, reducing target's damage absorption by 14%. 12 seconds cooldown. The second weapon that we are taking a look at is Jupiter's Judgment. This greatsword is dropped by an enemy that is named Kilon Caladuria, and it is located in the Brimstone Sands. In my case, I had no competition for the kill, but it's a tough fight, so you have to prepare a bit. You should definitely get some potions and a long-range weapon like a bow. If you have no resistance against acid, you must pull it to the road besides the pools or something else, otherwise you will die in a minute. If you are lucky, Jupiter's Judgment will drop for you. I will read for you the stats of this greatsword now. 29 Dexterity, Keen, plus 11% critical chance. Empty Gem Socket. Mortal Power. When you kill something, gain 15% empowered for 20 seconds. 1 second cooldown. Trenchant Rend. Fully charged heavy attacks inflict rend for 7 seconds, reducing target's damage absorption by 14%. 12 seconds cooldown. Next greatsword is named Sword of the Defender. It will drop by the Well Guardian, which is located in Eden Grove. Unfortunately, I was not able to get my hands on this blade because of this green wall in the video. I think this wall was part of the main story quest, and you can go in there for an required enemy at level 50. If any one of you know how to get there without the quest, you can put it in the comments for all the others. So let's get to the stats of this greatsword. 9 Constitution, 20 Strength, Vicious, plus 11% critical damage. Empty Gem Socket. Mortal Fortification. When you kill something, gain 15% fortify for 10 seconds. 1 second's cooldown. Refreshing Ward. Reduces active cooldowns by 1.8% after being hit 4 times. Does not trigger off persistent damage, bot effects, or blocked attacks. The next greatsword is named Defender's Might and is dropped by the enemy Roundshot Ronaldo, which is located in Reekwater. To get this enemy to spawn is a bit tricky. At first you have to catch up with the quest Shivering Timbers, which you can obtain from Cotrang Sanders within a pirate area, in northeast Reekwater. After you get to a certain point in this quest, you should be able to interact with this blue shiny barrel on the boat. Once interacted, waves of enemies are coming for you. After you defeated the waves, the enemy Ronaldo Roundshot spawns. He is also a very tough enemy, so you should again bring some potions with you. Unfortunately, I can't show you footage of the fight because I finished him a day or so before the recording. If you are lucky, the Defender's Might greatsword is dropping for you. Let me read the stats for you guys. 9 Constitution, 20 Strength. Energizing Counter. When Calamity Counter is activated, immediately gain 28 Stamina. Empty Gem Socket. Plagued Crits. Critical strikes against targets below 50% health inflict disease for 6 seconds, reducing healing effectiveness on the target by 23%. Chain Void. Basic attack hits trigger a void chain that bounces between close targets and deals 15% weapon damage. 2 seconds cooldown. get to the next Greatsword. It's named Dogstar's Tooth and is dropped by the enemy Sopdet Sothis, which is a scorpion. Once you reach the boss area, which you should see on the screen, you have to pull one of the both scorpions at once. At my first try I pulled both and died very quickly. But if you pull the both named scorpions that are patrol on the street alone, it shouldn't be a problem to defeat them. If you are lucky you can obtain the Dogstar's Tooth from one of them, which has the stats 29 Dexterity, Vicious, plus 11% critical damage. Empty Gem Socket, Life Stealing, you gain 4.9% of your damage as health. Does not trigger off persistent damage or dot effects. Trenchant Rend, fully charged heavy attacks inflict rend for 7 seconds, reducing target's damage absorption by 14%. 12 seconds cooldown. The next Greatsword is named Rampage, and is a potential drop of the enemy, the Grotto's Thorn, which is located in a cave in Reekwater. For this enemy you should also definitely get a long-range weapon like a bow or a musket. In the boss area are a lot of minions. If you want pull them I suggest to use your ranged weapon. In my try as you see I ran into them and accidentally pulled a whole bunch of enemies. I luckily survived because I had potions on my belt. If you have managed to take the Grotto's Thorn to the ground, you have the chance to get the Greatsword Rampage. The Greatsword have the following stats. 29 Strength, Mortal Energy, when you kill something gain 33 Stamina. 1 second cooldown. Brash 4, plus 30% damage against targets with full health. Vicious, plus 11% critical damage. Keen, plus 11% critical chance. The next Greatsword we're looking at is named Transference, and you can get it by defeating the enemy the Blightbringer, which is located in a swamp in Reekwater. This enemy shouldn't be a deal for anyone. If you are lucky, the enemy drops the Greatsword Transference, which has the following stats. 29 Strength, Slowing Rupture, foes struck with Roaring Rupture are slowed by 34% for 5 seconds. Empty Gem Socket, Refreshing Ward, reduces active cooldowns by 1.8% after being hit 4 times. Does not trigger off persistent damage, dot effects, or blocked attacks. Thwarting Strikes, deal 11% additional damage while you have active grit. Now we are getting to a slightly harder to obtain Greatsword, but you definitely can manage that by yourself as you see in the video. The Greatsword we are looking at is named Sonic Sword, and it is dropped by the enemy Broadpaw. This enemy is an Elite ++ enemy which have a golden status at his health bar. But if you can manage it to only fight him with range attacks and always evade his attacks he isn't that big of a deal. Actually I were lucky and killed him in the first try. If you are struggling to kill him you should ask for help in the region chat, there are always some nice mates to gather for such a boss. If you finished Broadpaw you can smell a bit of that good copium if he drops the weapon Sonic Sword. This Greatsword have the following stats. 29 Strength, Relentless Freedom, activating Relentless Rush removes roots and slows. Also increase Relentless Rush's critical hit chance by 19%. Empty Gem Socket, Vicious, plus 11% critical damage. Keenly Empowered, on critical, gain 15% empower for 5 seconds. Cooldown 10 seconds. Greatsword which is named Heel Strike is our next weapon. To get this sword you must defeat the enemy Taserjaw in the east of the Bonscale Reach. When you enter the surrounding area you have to follow my path to get to the terrace where you can find him. As the Blightbringer, Taserjaw isn't that big of a deal. If you manage to defeat him, you can obtain the Greatsword Heel Strike, which has the following stats. 29 Dexterity, Relentless Freedom, activating Relentless Rush removes roots and slows. Also increase Relentless Rush's critical hit chance by 19%. Empty Gem Socket. Keenly Empowered, on critical, gain 15% empower for 5 seconds. Cooldown 10 seconds. Life Stealing, you gain 4.9% of your damage as health. Does not trigger off persistent damage or dot effects. Next Greatsword is named Turtus Strike. It is a drop of the enemy Daoshan the Unstoppable, which is located in a cave district near the eastern outpost in Shattered Mountain. In this area are many of this gray elite type enemies. To prevent some deaths or struggling, you should definitely bring some potions with you. If you have defeated Daoshan, you have a chance to get the Greatsword Tortoise Strike, which has the following stats: 9 Constitution, 20 Dexterity, Energizing Counter. When Calamity Counter is activated, immediately gain 28 Stamina. Retaliate 4, deal plus 15% damage for 2 seconds after taking a hit. Keenly Fortified, on critical, gain 10% Fortify for 3 seconds. Cooldown 10 seconds. Keen, plus 11% critical chance. Next Greatsword is Energy Drain. You can obtain this Greatsword by defeating the enemy Georgian, which is located on the top of a mountain in Eden Grove. The fight against this enemy is also not a very tough one. If you has managed to kill a Georgian, you can obtain the sword Energy Drain, which has the following stats: 29 Dexterity, Vicious, plus 11% critical damage. Empty Gem Socket, Mortal Energy. When you kill something, gain 33 Stamina. 1 seconds cooldown. Keen, plus 11% critical chance. Now we are coming to my favorite Greatsword on the list. Its name is Bloodsucker's Sword. And like you see in the video, I am not the only one that is interested in this sword. The enemy we have to defeat to have a roll chance on this Greatsword is named Redclaw and is located in a blighted area, in a Bonscale Reach. All the enemies near this boss are angry earth type enemies like the boss. But none of the surrounding enemies should be a deal, even the boss is a very easy one. Now let us take a look at the stats of this Greatsword. 29 Strength, Leeching Crosscut. The final strike of Crosscut heals you for 70% of the damage dealt. Limit 1 trigger per ability use. Empty Gem Socket. Enchanted, light and heavy attacks deal 9.5% more damage. Life Stealing, you gain 4.9% of your damage as health. Does not trigger off persistent damage or dot effects. The last sword we are looking at today is Practiced Blows, which is dropped by Tsiwang, which is located in the same area as Daoshan that were mentioned before. Let's not talk a lot around the hot pot. This enemy fell to your sword as easy as a rabbit. If you have defeated him, you can get a chance on the sword Practiced Blows, which has the stats: 29 Dexterity, Leeching Crosscut. The final strike of Crosscut heals you for 70% of the damage dealt. Limit 1 trigger per ability use. Empty Gem Socket. Enchanted, light and heavy attacks deal 9.5% more damage. Keenly Empowered, on critical, gain 15% empower for 5 seconds. Cooldown 10 seconds. You made it to the end of the video. Huge thanks for this. If you liked the content, please leave a like or a comment to support the channel.